topic. The Expanse, season 5, episode 10.
Nemesis games.
I should do like a figure out how to do a voice modulator there and be like Nemesis games.
I will say this: the first 10 minutes of this episode, like when everything was getting set up. This was probably for me the best intro of an episode for this season.
Mm-hmm.
And again, part of it's because of what led up to it. Everything we knew was on the line. We see Holden and them preparing for war. We know, we know Naomi's in bad shape, obviously.
Right.
And just that preparation for and then Drummer and her crew, the tension between her and Oksana and all them, everything, and just did such a great job setting things up for what was going to happen.
Well, I think it was summed up in one line of dialogue, actually. Captain now, Camino later.
That is, yes, I love that one. Like I just, again, I just rewatched it before we started filming, and I said, oh, dude, that's one of my favorite lines.
Yep.
Right there.
Yeah.
And again, once again, I saw a shirt with her saying that on it.
I'm sure.
With her face.
Yeah.
Captain now at the top, and then at the bottom, Camino later.
And it just says like Belta Loda behind everything.
Yeah.
Or no, it says Sasuke.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so I saw one I didn't watch a reaction video, but I saw some reaction articles, I guess, not really reviews necessarily. And I did see one where it called this like the greatest space battle in the history of television. No, I don't think The Expanse has come close to Battlestar Galactica in surpassing it for like the space battles. I actually don't think it's surpassed Space Above and Beyond in the space battles just yet. They're amazing. There's no doubt about it. And for those to be the top 3 shows for space battles on TV, that is rarefied air. Star Trek and Star Wars wishes they were that good.
Yeah, one thing I like about these space battles here is, again, they rarely put this, multiple ships on, unless you're doing a drive-by, but usually the ships are on screen one at a time because they're so far apart, which makes sense. Because again, one of the things Holden says is that, we have a railgun, but we're going to be shot up with missiles before we can get into effective range.
Right.
And that's one of the things that, and again, much of what BSG did was because they were single fighters.
Right.
They were fighters, so you could show multiple ones. Even with the good guys and then the Cylons, drones or whatever.
Wait, you mean the good guys and then the Colonials?
Anyway, yeah. Although, to be honest, the Colonials did do them dirty. So
yeah, I mean the slaves rose up.
So they were basically that's what it was. So I now that I think about it, I can't really
goddamn Eric Stoltz
at that point.
Just started it all.
Yep. So yeah, I wouldn't say it's the greatest ever, but
no, I thought it was great.
It was a lot of fun.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was I actually thought the battle near the end was a little better. And I guess you wouldn't even call that a battle. That it was more of an ambush. But I thought they used the whole idea of space much better. And we will get to that. It was nice to see Holden being that strategic mastermind that he is, that we've been missing this season. And I'll get to the part of the story that they left out later. Because they made a big leap with something that happened at the end of this episode. Well, they made a big leap with the what is the ship called? Do you remember? It started with the B.
The Barkeith.
The Barkeith, thank you. With the Barkeith essentially disintegrating, like that wasn't that should not have happened in this episode.
Yeah,
So, but sorry.
Yeah, I'm still kind of like mulling that over, and a lot of what, like, because in a way I agree. Also, again, it just depends on how how they frame season 6, which again I mentioned this last week. I'm kind of concerned about.
So
So
Holden spent too much time spinning his wheels on Tycho and not enough time doing the stuff that he was doing in Nemesis game to make what happened to the Barkeith actually hold water. And when that happens, and we as the audience know more than the characters, that's a really fun place to be.
right.
But I'll say this. The whole thing with the Rossi at the beginning there, I think they're gonna really, because Kazanvar isn't going to be part of the show moving forward. Spoilers, because they killed Alex off the way they did, and they did not introduce the Belter pilot from the books. I think we're stuck with Bull, and I don't like that. I don't like the energy he brings, and I felt like for a minute there they were trying to make us think he was part of Inaros, the Free Navy. I don't know if you caught on to that at all, where it's like, oh wait, he's gonna, when he said there's always, when Marco, I think he said there's always a knife or something.
You must always have a knife in the dark, which is, again, that's another great line.
And I thought that was maybe Bull, because Bull was like doing something in the pilot chair, like kind of wonky. But what I really liked about this is when they're like, well, we have, just a few missiles left. We have so many PDC rounds, and we are running low on fuel. And they're like, and we have a half a pack of smokes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it. Like, I thought that was a great heroic moment for Holden to say. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, keep going. For Holden to say.
For Holden to say, look, I know this is an unwinnable situation, but we're gonna do what we can. And I did not like the fact that he used the word friends and not family. But I feel like if he would have said family, I would have been wondering where his silver cross was and his charger. But when he said, we're gonna give my family or my friends the ability to survive, and Bull's like, I really hate getting blown up before we even get a chance to fight. And he looks at me and goes, why can't we do both?
Yes.
Like,
that is the Holden. Yeah, that is absolutely the Holden that we've been following for the last 5 years.
Right. And if Steve Strait can win for like best guest star in a season, any kind of award that like best guest star in a season, Steve
best
Strait.
Guest star. So yeah, this was very Holden heavy, Holden centric. Well, not Holden centric actually, but he was like one of the main parts of this, unlike much of this season, sadly.
So, Holden is my favorite character. I joke that it's Amos, but Holden is my favorite character. He's my favorite character in the books as well, partly because most of it is from his point of view. And I enjoyed seeing other parts of the world from the other point of views this season. But without Holden's POV, and without Holden being, so in the books, I'm gonna just spoil something. So in the books, there's ships that are disappearing. It's like 1 in 6, or no, it's not even like that. It's like 1 in 20 ships goes missing, as they pass through ring gates, and they're trying to figure it out. And it becomes very important in Abaddon's Gate. Is that how you say it?
Yes.
The next book, which will be the next season, and it is something that they should have let Holden set up for that, because then when the Barkeith disintegrated, then that's where we learn, like, oh, this is the ring gates are taking the ships, but we don't know why yet, and we're not going to know why for quite a while.
Right.
So, yeah, that was like, that's just like, oh, we were so close to getting this whole other, like, non-political monster, not political monster. Let me rephrase that. Righteous indignation Holden, and we were gonna get like Sherlock Holmes Holden,
Right.
Um,
Sherlock Holden.
and I feel like it was a huge missed opportunity, and that came from the fact that we spent so much time with the Inaros family.
Yes. And again, one of the things you talked about when we were going about the Cobra Kai thing is how they made Kreese a little bit almost too sympathetic. And some of the stuff they did with the whole Marco thing, it worked in the same way, when there are times where less is more. And as much as we love Keon Alexander, if we would have gotten less of him and less of his point of view, I think it would have solidified him better as this menacing villain, as well as allowed us to get more time with some of the things we're talking about now. Because was there ever mention of ships disappearing this season?
Not at all. That's the
I
problem.
didn't think so.
That's why it was a very unearned moment, and I know it was meant as a what cliffhanger, right. But it would have had even more resonance if we knew ships were disappearing. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss any kind of like a throwaway line of dialogue where someone says something along those lines. So yeah, because I mean Monica is so focused on the it's not the Nemesis. What's the name of the ship that they're after? With the protomolecule, she's so focused on that
Zemea.
She figures that. Yeah, Zemea. Thank you. She figures that out and solves that case. But at the same time, it's like, okay, but where was this other thing? Because the reason Holden was able to figure it out is because he got left on Tycho all by himself and he was bored.
Right.
And he was doing the typical James Holden thing and just pressing buttons.
Pressing buttons. Still want to again. That's a top 10 line for this season.
This is really
that how you really go through?
What'd you do? I saw a button.
I saw a button. I pressed it. That's like a 5-year-old,
right? So we got as much Alex and Bobbie this season as we've gotten in one episode, and that ended horrifically. It was. It was Alex till the end, right? He was Alex. I mean, he was that brave idiot that Naomi called him. I hated that he died by himself on the Screaming Firehawk. I hated it.
Yeah.
And like, so the subheading for this week's episode, if you're going to go, going alone in the Screaming Firehawk sucks.
Yeah.
We never got to see all 4 of them together at any point this season.
Yeah. And look, I understand shit like this happens in life where you don't get to say goodbye. However, we're talking about, a story being created, being crafted.
Mm-hmm.
They deserve to be together one last time.
I think because the fans deserved it.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
And
because we did not get one scene with them together all season long.
Right.
Because when it started, he was on Mars and Amos was on Earth, and it was just Holden and Naomi.
Mm-hmm.
So I did not like it. I'm a little bit more this might be one of those things where it was good that we weren't doing a live reaction, because my reaction to that when that happened, there were quite a few expletives thrown out, and not in the way of I'm sad. It's I'm pissed off.
Our text chain back and forth there was not very happy.
No,
like
not at all.
So here's the thing: is I hopped on Facebook afterwards because I deleted Twitter off of my phone. I still have the account, but it just whatever. And there were so many people on Facebook. It's like, why did they kill Alex? What is going on? what is happening here? And so there were some people in there who were like, oh well, he's a rapist or whatever. And it's like, Alcon, the Acorn, whatever the hell the network is that, or the studio is.
Yeah, Alcon.
Thank you. They claim to have done an investigation into this. You can go to Reddit. I think it's in r/Expanse, or the Expanse, where they share like some messages that were leaked, and like, it seems like Kaz Anvar was kind of a creep to the ladies. But like, we never got to hear like what they found in their investigation. We have a lot of like one-sided conversations where people have deleted their responses. And I'm not at all, condoning his activity or his behavior. Let's put it that way. But at the same time, it's like, what else did they change from the season? Like, how much more Bobbie should we have gotten? Because you can very clearly tell after they leave Mars is when they're like, okay, we're scaling Alex back. Mm-hmm. And in doing so, we also lost Frankie Adams for most of the season.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. The other big issue I saw was people called this season boring.
Well, and again, like, I didn't think it was boring, but was it last week or the week before last where there was a kind of like 3 episodes, like 3 weeks in a row, where it was just kind of a lull. Yeah. And even someone who I really love this season. Well, I won't say loved the season. I like this season quite a bit. There was still that three episode arc, or where it was just, they didn't do enough, and it was one of those where a part of it was like they were still on the whole Kamina Oksana thing, and too much Marco. So as strong as this season started, there was an absolute lull in the center of it.
So there's a huge chunk of this this series, where it's not the Expanse, it's the day players of the Expanse, where they focus on the people who are not the people we are emotionally invested in. Kara G is awesome. She is amazing as Drummer. Drummer is a great character. I do not need to see Drummer every episode. I don't need to see her crew in more than one episode in the season. Season.
That's what I was going to say. I would love to see Drummer in every episode. However, the crew that surrounded her, as much as she brought them up, it sounds kind of, like two sides. She brought them up, but they also brought the story down.
Yes.
And that's like, if it was just Drummer in certain aspects with certain other characters, like with Drummer and Ashford, I love how they did that in season 4. That was perfect. That was great how they did that,
because they're both very good actors.
Yes.
The woman who plays Oksana was not a good actor. The woman who played Karal, not a good actor. The man who played Joseph, not a good actor.
Yeah. And
they spent too much time there.
Right. Yeah, too much time on that.
Okay, so getting Naomi, that was like a very Gravity-esque scene. And I loved that we stayed in her helmet.
Yes.
That we were, all hope is lost. Ye who enter, leave whatever it is.
Abaddon's Gate.
Yeah, right. But Naomi coming to the rescue, and then all of that. That was great. Naomi had to think about just jumping out into space this season. Luckily we don't have to deal with that anymore.
YOLO. she should have yelled that when she jumped out. I'm just kidding.
She should have yelled it in Belter though. So yeah. The hand signals, right? We have not gotten enough of the Belters talking with their hands in this series, for that to have had any impact.
Well, the first time you see that is from Havelock in one of the first episodes of season 1,
and
where he's trying to learn. Yeah, when he's trying to learn it to so he can relate better and talk better to the Belters on the station on series.
I mean, because like Diego, right, was the most Belter belter that ever belted, and he did not talk with his hands.
Yeah.
He just had the big belter Creole Sasuke. Well, voila.
Yeah. But I figured, I was like, she must be doing, some hand signals when they.
Well, again,
because I was like, I know
because I've
it
read the
doesn't.
books more recently than you. I just was like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, I know what she's doing.
I was like, it looks a little bit like YMCA, but not really.
I'm curious, if you did not read the books and you watched this, what did you think of this season? Because I think if you didn't read the books, you may very well have loved this season. Like, loved this season.
Yeah, and I actually, on the other end, if I would have read, like if I'd have done a reread between season 4 and season 5, how would I feel differently with this season than I do now? Because again, there's certain things that like the Holden, doing his detective work, I did miss out on that.
You mean Sherlock Holden?
Yes, Sherlock Holden. I definitely missed out on that, and that was one of those things that one of the issues I had with the series is that, because that was a big part of what Holden was doing on Tycho. And then to your point with the whole, was it Barkeith disappearing or being disintegrated?
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, it takes away. It was more of a shock value than it was, oh, that's what these ships are doing. That's what's happening to these ships.
Yeah. And again, like I said, this is one of those things where I think it's okay for us as viewers to be ahead of the characters.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the best thrillers, that's how they work out, is, the reader knows who the killer is and everybody else has to catch up. It's just a different kind of storytelling, and not everybody can pull it off.
Right.
I don't think James S.A. Corey can pull that off. As much as I like their writing. So not the other problems with Ty Franck I have withstanding.
So, oh yeah, rip tequila bottle. We forgot to mention that.
So yeah, I mean, like we haven't got to Luna yet.
Yes.
So here was the thing though, when they ran that blockade and Drummer turned on the other belters, like, again, something we know that's happening because we read the books. But I love the way they did it, because it wasn't Drummer who actually saved the day. It was
Joseph.
No, it wasn't even Joseph. It was the girl who pushed
Karal.
Carol.
I'm drawing a blank on her name.
Yeah, completely drawing a blank. But anyway, and like Carol went down, like Nate Robinson went down, right? Like,
oh Lord,
she was just like out, like, literally dead. And it was just like one shot to like the orbital bone that killed her. That was crazy. Yeah, as soon as she took the face mask off, it's like, this bitch is dead.
Yeah.
I thought Drummer was going to shoot her in the face. I thought that's what they were going to do.
Well, you notice when Drummer said one more word and you're dead, and I kill or shoot you, she stopped talking because she's like, yeah, she will shoot me.
She will shoot me, and it will hurt. So
yeah.
But no, getting to Luna, I think the scene. So I again, they got to Luna, and Alex didn't get much of a send off, right?
Right.
It was a lot of Holden and Naomi with the letter she left him, and it was played over as we were learning more. We learned that Alex is going to get buried back on Mars with his wife. His ex is taking care of it, and he's getting like full military, honors and whatnot. Mars is a 9 planet, so how much does that really mean? But they get there, and Avasarala is like, look, you are the future. You're 2 Earthers and a Belter and a Martian, and you're a family, and we want to hold you up as the example. Like, that was a really cool little bit. I really enjoyed just watching them like hang out at the party.
I love that. Yeah, like when Holden's talking to Avasarala, and then he looks over and looks at he gives Naomi, and again, Dominic Tipper is just incredible.
Chef's kiss.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I love those. Like I'm a fan of little moments like that. Again, one of my favorite scenes in the Age of Ultron is after the party and all of them are just hanging around, shooting the shit.
Oh,
Trying to pick
it
up
wasn't
the
when
hammer.
it said the end. That was my favorite scene. No, you're right. But this is again where we missed having everyone together.
Yeah, and not having Alex in that scene is
it really took away. It really
yeah.
did. And not giving him like the only real thing send off he got was when Holden ran his hand over the plaque.
Dude,
which
I will say seeing that a legitimate salvage under there
made me laugh.
That's
I got a good little nice. But yeah, so on Luna, Amos and Timmy, Timmy is already planning crime. And I love how Amos is just kind of listening to him because he sees the Rossi's docking and he's waiting
that
for
was
it.
Awesome. Yeah.
And it was like you could see like he's like, I'm almost home, but he wasn't moving anywhere. Right?
Yeah.
It's such the opposite of like what this scene normally would be. And Wes Chatham did a great job. Dropping the whiskey bottle, a little help, and nobody looks up.
Yeah.
So, nobody looks up. It was a nice final moment between the two of them. I hope it's not the last we see of Eric.
And Hutch survived too, by the way.
Yeah, Hutch did survive. We learned that
to steal another day.
Which was good. And then well, he's got a whole thing in the next trilogy of books too, which is pretty cool with Eric, Eric the Red. But yeah, it was great. And then finally seeing them back together, and then Holden just falling right into Amos's trap. So Holden was playing Lincoln Logs, and Amos was playing like 42-dimensional chess right there.
Yeah. Like that was, and again, as much as I was upset that it, like how quickly they moved away from Alex being gone, I think this scene was purposefully put there to try to mask over that a little bit, because it's awesome. Because Amos comes, I got to talk to you, Captain Alone.
Yeah.
Remember when you said you were going to kill me? You lined up on me and all this stuff. When the Martians were coming on, because I didn't want to spend my life in a gulag. You were right. You were serious. You would have done it, right? He's like, yeah, but everything's different.
We're family.
It's like, so yeah, because you wanted to kill me now. Yeah, it's like, so no hard feelings. And I just love his like, okay. And he just hollers behind him, we're good.
Yeah. And out comes Clarissa Mao. So this is again where we miss like inner dialogue, because the inner dialogue in the book is fantastic at that scene. The other thing
look that up
is Jim needs to look at Amos and say, you threatened to rip my helmet off and just throw me off of the night.
Yeah. Well, technically, he didn't threaten him. He said, "I don't know what would stop me." He's like, "I don't know what. If I should rather
I don't
do
know.
this
That
or that."
sounded like a threat to me. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, look at Holden's. I remember Holden's face. He took it as a threat.
Oh yeah. But no. So this will be good. Having Clarissa with them. Her and Amos are great together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then the other thing that happened is during the party, Holden and Bobbie are summoned away with Avasarala. And this is where we get a really cool battle, because there's a group of Martian ships along with Belter ships that are making a beeline for the Soul Gate. And I pseudo remembered reading about this part in the book, but when they just essentially dumped a bunch of sand on the Earth battleship, and it just tore it apart. They just
Yeah.
fired what they did. And so, see, they didn't go into that enough. They're like, oh, it
No,
was
they
stealth
didn't.
rocks. No, they took literally asteroid dust and in super speed threw it at the ship from above.
Yeah. Right.
And it just tore it to bits, because that's what happens when a mass of tiny rocks just hits your ship.
Yeah, there's no friction to slow it down.
No,
It's
none
just,
whatsoever. Which was awesome. I loved that battle. Was so cool. You know, and it ends with Bobbie, you know, being shocked that part of the Martian fleet went rogue. And I like how they're like, oh, they've gone with Inaros. And we learn, no, they're going through a gate called the Laconia gate. And if you've read the books, you obviously know what that means. And Sadovredis and Babbage are then on the ship of the Barkeith. And the way that scene ended was great. But we got to see them talking to one of the scientists who was Cortazar, thank you. Who was on Laconia, and we get to see these strange platforms. And
and again, the only one I could remember from the books was the Magenta class. So I don't know I think there were other class starships, but that was awesome. It was like the it was like the skeleton of a whale, but in reverse. Instead of, you know, deteriorating, it's being built up.
Should I spoil what that is?
Sure.
So it's a shipbuilding platform where they build protomolecule powered ships that are badass.
Bad. I don't know if badass is even the word for these things.
They are Sam Jackson's wallet in Pulp Fiction.
That is an absolute, that's a perfect description of those things.
I'm very excited to see that part of the series in 5 to 8 years.
Yes, absolutely.
So, and it should, and they shouldn't even do a movie or a series. They should do a 3 movie, maybe 4 movie, like engagement.
Dude, I don't know, man. Well, I would say yes because of the budget.
So
it just focused on a 2 to 2 hour and 20-minute movie.
I don't know. Maybe they'll let them use the volume at Lucasfilm.
That would be,
they could do some pretty cool shit there.
Seeing the Expanse on the big screen
would be amazing.
Yes.
So, all right. So for the episode, out of 5 sandstorms in space, I'm gonna go with a 4.
Yeah, this is another one. I would put this. Yeah, it would be 4 as well.
And then for the season, out of disappearing Doninger class ships through a gate, out of 5, I'm gonna go with a 3.5.
I'm gonna stay with my. I'm going fractions. I'm doing 4.25. I think it's better than a 4, but not quite up to a 4.5.
Yeah.
Particularly because that 3 episode type the 3 week lull that it had that kind of took it down, and some of the misses on the story decisions.
So yeah, I just feel like I lost too much time with my favorite character to give it any more than a 3.5. It's still a good season.
That's fair. Yeah.
It was better than season 4. Season 4 was not bad either.
Yes.
It was not as good as season 3. Season 2 is actually my favorite season of the show. So yeah.
Yeah.
And season 1 is great. So
yeah. I mean, again, I like every season of The Expanse, but yeah, if we have to compare them, yeah, season 4 is my least favorite season of The Expanse.
And then we gotta look at what the ending title card will look like as they go through, and it's not a gate anymore. It was Laconia in the background. So
right. So
which was pretty cool.
And one thing we didn't mention when we were talking about Drummer is that Drummer and Oksana are no longer.
Oh yeah, they went their separate ways. So hopefully Oksana's ship gets blown up and we don't have to look at it anymore.
And we had mentioned that before a couple weeks ago, where we said there's no repairing this.
No.
And it's funny because Drummer is the one that tried to repair it, and Oksana was the one that, because I guess this is important, but Surge, he dies.
Yeah, he gets spaced. That was kind of cool when Marco just kicked him out after opening the airlock and making sure he's magged in. So
yeah,
he gave him the sin treatment.
Yeah, and this is one of those I kind of like how when you were talking about. I like the amount of time Marco got in this one. It wasn't too much. It was. I think it was just enough.
He was so menacing in this episode.
Yeah. Oh man, where she said we've sent 3 tight beams, and he was like, "Say that again." But it was a much more menacing tone.
And again, when he's like, "You have your gate, you have your system, we have our system." When Set of Ready says, you know, we're going to go through and then the mines are going to be activated on our side of the gate. And he's like, oh, great. We don't want anything to do with you. Beat it.
Yeah. Oh, and again, we got the mention of the man behind it all.
Mm-hmm.
Admiral Duarte.
Yep. Duarte. I'm excited to watch them strap the railgun to the little moon that Holden used to open all the gates next season.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, that's not next season. That's far away. No, that is.
That I think that is next season.
No, it's not because no, Bobbie's involved with it, but it's later.
Oh yeah. So. Okay. It's so funny how when you say something and then the scene plays off in my head.
I just gotta say, the way Roberta Draper goes out in the books, if they don't do her that way in the show and show us that, I'm gonna be really sad because she goes out like a boss.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So, all right. Oh yeah, sorry.
All right. No, that's it.
Yeah, I think. Thank you, Amazon Prime, for giving us this show and making it as good as you did. We definitely will continue watching. I'm almost done listening to the first book again, so but after that I'm gonna take a break and I'm gonna listen to the Matthew McConaughey book that you want me to listen to.
About time.
I don't know. Then I'm gonna listen to 1984 again.
That's the one I think I'm going to half price tomorrow. So
it's on Audible. It's free on Audible.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
So anywho. Yeah, that and Animal Farm, both free on Audible if you guys want to read 2 really good books. Not even sponsored by us. Anywho, all right. So I'll be back next week. Daryl may be back next week. I don't know. He's going to Disney World again. He's apparently in love with Disney World. He's half
it's
mouse.
A magical place.
He's half mouse at this point. But so it's either gonna be both of us, and we won't be reviewing WandaVision at all, or it'll be me with a special guest reviewing WandaVision, and then Daryl and I will come back and do the commentary when he gets back from Orlando. So, cool. Anything else to add, sir?
No, it's just, is it 2022 yet? I'm waiting for season 6 already.
Yeah, right. Is it Tuesday, some random Tuesday in 2022 yet? So, oh yeah. Hey, Amazon, thank you for putting it out on Tuesdays, even though you said the show comes out on Wednesday. I actually really enjoy that. So, and keep doing that with The Boys.
Yes.
Because watching The Boys on Thursday night was great too.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. So yeah, keep doing that, people.
Please, sirs. Please give us more of what we want. I don't know what that was.
I don't either. So I wasn't going to say anything.
Just ignore it. But yeah, so on that note, we will see you guys, one of us, next week. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube. Thanks to Matt and Julianne for backing us on Patreon. Hopefully more of you join them so you can get more of the WandaVision commentaries. We've got 4 to go after this week. And yeah, so, if there's something you want us to review, a show that you want us to dig into, email us at contact@infamouspodcast.com because we're looking for what's next. On that note, see you later.
See ya.
The Infamous Podcast is recorded in Kings Mills, Ohio, just north of Cincinnati. You can find new episodes every Sunday on Apple Podcast, YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcast, our website, or anywhere podcasts are downloaded. This show is hosted by Daryl Jasper and me, Brian Tudor. To find more information about the show, visit us at infamouspodcast.com and and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Infamous Podcast to keep up with the show. We also have a Patreon page, patreon.com/Infamous Podcast. We have some great rewards for our patrons and are looking for help to grow the show to bring you more of the content you want to hear. Music for this podcast is provided by Michael Henry from MeMichaelHenry.com. So, whenever you're listening to us, have a great day, night, evening, weekend, whenever it is, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.